Hey up everyone, I'm back again. So I'd wanted to do a quick comparison video between the new budget phones coming out from Motorola and Nokia, namely the Motorola E or Moto E and the Lumia 630. Both offer you quite decent bang for buck in terms of specifications. But they also may have a few shortcomings, but I think each one of them do make up for those shortcomings in different ways, and depending on your requirements for a phone, you may want to choose one over the other, but as you can see, they're both of a similar size. They're very easy to hold in the hand, and they certainly don't leave much in terms of a footprint. They're both quite light, but not the lightest handsets. They both have their power button and volume rocker on the sides, which is nice and easy to access. Both have a 5 megapixel camera on the back, with no flash, unfortunately. You do get quite a nicer logo, in my opinion, on the Moto E on the back, whereas the back of the Nokia is very Spartan. On the bottom you get a USB 2.0 port, and on the top you get a headphone jack. The speaker for the Moto E is on the front, which is nice, as it would output it in a better manner, whereas the speaker on the Nokia is on the back, which could be prone to being muffled. They both do have removable back covers, thankfully, meaning that you can pop in an extra micro SD to top up the internal storage. The Lumia does support 128 gigs micro SD cards, which is an advantage over the Moto E, which only supports 32 gigabyte micro SDs. However, the Moto E does have a slightly larger battery capacity at about 1900 mAh versus the 1800 odd in the Nokia Lumia. So yeah, they're both I'd say very solid feeling handsets. There's no creakiness or anything. Definitely not very premium, but I do like the way in which Motorola have covered their handset with slightly more sophisticated coating to prevent smudges. It does look a bit smudged at the moment. That's because my hands are quite sweaty at the moment, but in general practice I've found it to resist smudges better than the Lumia. It does also have that nano coating as well, which I think will help it in regards to resistance to water. When you turn on the devices, you have very serviceable screens. They're both LCD type screens, with the PPI on the Moto E being a bit higher. The PPI on the Lumia is 218, so when you're doing a bit of web browsing and reading text, you may notice the text to be a little bit less sharp, a little bit blurrier. It's on the very borderline of what's considered acceptable, I think, nowadays. Whereas the text on the Moto E will appear a lot more crisper because of the higher PPI, which is, I think it's 256 PPI. So there's a bit of a difference there, and it does have the smaller screen of 4.3 inches versus 4.5 inches. So if you do like your text to be sharp, then you know the Moto E's a good one for that. I'd say that both screens are good in terms of being indoors in the evening, and there's no issues in regards to brightness there, but when you're in direct sunlight, I've noticed that they are quite dull compared to some other devices. It is kind of like the evening here now, so there's no real issues with the screen at the moment, but I have noticed on the direct sunlight it does affect the viewing angles because they're quite dim. I do have them on medium brightness now, but as you can see, the viewing angles are decent. They are IPS displays after all. If I was to give it to if I was to choose one screen over the other, then it'd be very difficult for me, because while the Moto E does have the higher PPI, I think that the Lumia does have the slightly brighter screen and is a bit more preferable when it comes to viewing angles, but only just. So they both have their strengths and weaknesses there. In regards to the specifications, again, nothing to really see here. Snapdragon 200, 1.2 GHz on the Moto E. Very bare minimum in regards to performance. I've not found any major difficulties operating the device. Going into stuff is a relatively nice affair. And it's helped by the fact that it's backed up with 1 gig of RAM, which is always nice to see on Android. It is a very RAM intensive operating system, even if it is on KitKat. But you know, in my opinion, if you're not hammering it completely with a whole load of apps, then you shouldn't have too many problems with it. It's just it can sometimes stall when you are doing some more intensive stuff when you're out and about. So just bear that in mind in regards to the Moto E. But the Lumia benefits from a quad-core processor with I'd say probably more efficient operating system, which has always been buttery smooth. It's running the latest 8.1 operating system as well, which has those enhancements. So I'd say that I've not discovered much lag, to be absolutely honest, on the Lumia 630. And that's even doing the more intensive stuff, such as using the maps. Don't know what happened there. Okay, that doesn't want to open up for some reason, but if we just look at the maps, as you can see, very nice performance there. There's nothing that I can't stand more than jerky, laggy animations when looking at maps. So very pleased with what Nokia have been able to do there, and that is with 512 megabytes of RAM. So do bear that in mind, particularly for certain apps which may need that bit more RAM to be used. But in general, they both perform decently in terms of performance, but they're by no means speed demons or anything. In regards to the cameras on each device, again, they're a bit different in that I'd say the Lumia 630 offers a more premium camera experience. It's got not only has it got Nokia's camera app installed on it, which is a very nice camera app. I'm a big fan of it. It also supports autofocus, unlike the Motorola E, and also shoots in 720p video recording. Focusing is generally fast and taking the picture as well. So no real problems there. You do get also the ability to customize the settings to your heart's content, which is very nice. You also can put on lenses as well, which aim to enhance the experience. Yeah, you know, Nokia never really let you down when it comes to camera performance on its Lumia devices. I think that they are very well renowned for putting excellent cameras in there. In regards to the Moto E, it is a 5 megapixel shooter. It is limited in its ability to focus, unfortunately. As you can see, there's no ability to focus, it's just touch to shoot. So you have to sit or stand at the right position to take the good shot, or basically you're going to come out with a blurred mess. But the camera pictures it does take are serviceable, you know, they're not bad by any means. But I think that Motorola are a bit skimped in regards to this area to keep the price low. It does only record also in 480p, which is very basic, I guess. But as you can see, you can set some options such as HDR to improve the dynamic range of the picture. You can control the focus and exposure, which is nice. You can change the aspect ratio to widescreen or non-widescreen. So there are some nice things there, but I think that Moto still has some way to go to improve the camera experience on its devices, which in my opinion just fall behind the competition a little bit. Also felt that way with the Moto X as well. Had to install a third-party camera actually just to use that under any capacity. But in regards to the sound quality of each device, as I said, the Moto E makes up here in regards to having a front speaker, which is very nice. It allows the sound to really come out in a better way. I can give you a quick example. That's a very nice output there. I'd say better than a lot of high-end devices. So that's quite odd in that the Lumia does actually sound louder, but it is a bit muffled because the speaker's on the back, unfortunately. If they'd put it on the front, then I would have given it to the Lumia, but I think the clear space here really does make the sound much more crisper from the Moto E. But they're very good performers in terms of the speakers. Anyway, I think that Sony could learn a lot from them. As well as LG. Yeah, moving on. Battery life on each device, not had any issues. An efficient processor plus decent capacities for smaller devices means you're going to get through a day without much problems. If I was to choose one over the other, I'd say Moto E. Because it is slightly larger capacity coupled with a dual core and a smaller screen and a low PPI. It's going to be quite a road warrior. whereas the Lumia is not too shabby, but it does have that quad-core processor to bear in mind, and a slightly lower battery capacity. However, the battery on the Lumia is user replaceable, which is good for people who like to swap out the battery, which is always a bonus. Headphone quality and call quality is decent on both devices. I've not heard any complaints in regards to me sounding muffled or anything. I think Nokia and Motorola have always been traditionally good in that aspect. In regards to the software, as you can see, they're both running their own operating systems, and I think at the end of the day you're either an Android person or a Windows Phone person. I think that if you're coming from Android, then Windows 8.1 is certainly a fresh, exciting new take on operating systems, which pretty much has everything you need nowadays. You know, your Pinterest, your eBay, your Puff, your Viber, whatever you need, it's pretty much there now. Although some of the apps do lack polish, I'd say, compared to Android, which is more mature in my opinion. And the integration, I'd say, is still a little bit better on Android at the moment, as well as the ability to root and install whatever the hell you want on your device. But Windows Phone 8.1 is certainly catching up and is certainly a refreshing change. Especially like the notification panel now, which is very useful, as well as the fact that the battery and status indicators stay instead of disappear. I also like the way you can put your own customized wallpaper on the tiles, and it gives it a really nice classy effect on there. But you also get the Nokia apps as well, the value-added apps such as Nokia Music. In fact, I don't think you get Nokia Music on the Lumia 630. You do get Nokia Mix Radio, Nokia Camera, as well as the Here Drive and Here Drive Maps, but you don't get music, I don't think. But the ones that you do get are very good and add value to the experience, I'd say. I've found that Google navigation can be quite temperamental at times, compared to Nokia's Maps application, which seems to be a lot more accurate, and it's just nice having a change as well from Google. In regards to the Moto E, you get some useful stuff on there as well, such as Motorola Assist, which is very nice. It allows you to silence the device when you don't want it going off. You do also get Motorola's excellent help app, which allows you to get in touch with an agent very quickly, just by going into help and then contacting an agent. I think that sort of customer service really enhances the phone experience for the user, particularly if they don't have much experience with smartphones. But yeah, you know, I think it's apples versus oranges. I've got to say I'm becoming much more of a fan of Windows Phone, but will it make me convert? Who knows? I am mostly an Android person still, but I'm certainly getting there. So that about covers it. I think they both have a lot to offer users who don't want to spend hundreds of pounds on a new device. You can get the Moto E for about 80 quid unlocked, and the Lumia 630 comes in at about 120, 130 SIM free. And you can't go wrong with either of them. But if you're looking for a slightly better battery life and slightly higher resolution screen, as well as the Android ecosystem, which is a bit more mature, then you can't go wrong with the Moto E really. Whereas if you're looking for a more premium camera experience and a fresh, exciting new operating system with a higher capacity to storage, both internal as well as through micro SD, because the Lumia does support 8 gigs internal as opposed to the 4 gigs on the Moto E. Then you should not hesitate to buy the 630. But yeah, that about covers it. So this has been a comparison review between the Lumia 630 and the Moto E. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please subscribe. Cheers.